Up before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During
Did you not hear
the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr.
Today, we examine a complex web of events involving high-profile figures and serious allegations. From Jeffrey Epstein's crimes to the involvement of those in his circle, questions remain about accountability and justice. Public trust hinges on transparency, and these issues demand careful, unbiased scrutiny. Former Prince Andrew and others attended Epstein-linked parties. Laws protecting victims required redacting certain details, yet evidence raises questions about whether investigations reached all implicated individuals. The balance between privacy and justice is delicate but critical. Authorities have stated they found insufficient evidence to pursue uncharged parties, yet eyewitness accounts and documents suggest potential gaps in investigation. Understanding these gaps is essential to ensure accountability for sex trafficking operations. The discussion extends beyond Epstein. Public interest now focuses on figures like Donald Trump, who were reportedly present at related events. No charges have been filed, and claims of transparency must be weighed against unexamined witness reports. One witness claims to have observed conversations suggesting potential criminal activity. These claims remain largely unexplored. The question is, how should authorities act when allegations intersect with powerful individuals? Over 1,000 victims were affected, yet prosecutions beyond Epstein himself remain limited. Ensuring justice for all requires careful investigation without bias or political influence. Public scrutiny plays a key role in demanding accountability. Ultimately, the focus is on transparency, legal integrity, and protecting victims. Leadership carries responsibility to confront allegations fairly, investigate thoroughly, and maintain public trust. The path forward requires courage and impartiality. As citizens and observers, we must ask tough questions. Are investigations sufficient? Are victims fully heard? Is justice applied equally, regardless of status? Only through accountability can trust in institutions be restored. True accountability does not bend for status or power. Every claim must be investigated, every lead followed, and every victim acknowledged. Justice is not selective, it is universal. As citizens, we must ask hard questions. Were investigations thorough? Were witnesses ignored? Did political influence shape decisions? These questions are not partisan. They are about fairness, law, and the protection of human dignity. The challenge is clear. Ensure transparency while safeguarding victims, confront wrongdoing without bias, and restore faith in the rule of law. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Call to examine how power, influence, and justice intersect, and whether society will demand accountability for those who have long escaped it. We are reminded that justice delayed is justice denied. Survivors' voices must be amplified, institutions must act decisively, and the public must remain vigilant. Only then can accountability truly prevail. In the end, the question remains: will justice rise to meet the challenge, or will silence and inaction prevail? The answer lies not just with leaders, but with all of us who demand fairness, transparency, and truth. Every allegation, every witness, every unanswered question reminds us that accountability is not automatic. It must be actively pursued with courage and impartiality to ensure the law serves everyone equally, not just the powerful. As observers and citizens, we hold a responsibility to ask, to demand, and to insist that no one is above scrutiny. Only through vigilance can we protect victims, strengthen institutions, and uphold justice for all. History will judge how we respond. Will we allow the powerful to evade accountability, or will we rise to ensure that truth and fairness prevail? The moment to act, to demand answers, is now, before silence becomes acceptance. Justice is not just a system, it is a principle. And today, it calls on each of us to stand for transparency, to champion victims' voices, and to insist that accountability knows no exceptions. Every unanswered report, every overlooked witness underscores the urgency of accountability. Justice cannot be selective. It must confront wrongdoing wherever it exists, regardless of wealth, power, or influence. Survivors' stories cannot be ignored. Their voices demand action, not silence. The responsibility to investigate fully, without bias, rests on leaders, but also on society itself to insist that justice is not postponed. When institutions fail to act, public trust erodes. Transparency, diligence, and courage are not optional. They are essential to ensuring that justice is credible and that victims are protected. We must confront uncomfortable truths, question incomplete investigations, and insist on accountability. History remembers those who stand for fairness and those who accept inaction. The path forward requires patience, vigilance, and persistence. Every allegation must be examined. Every lead must be followed. Only then can justice fulfill its promise and restore confidence in our institutions. Ultimately, accountability is a collective responsibility. Leaders can guide, but the power to demand truth rests with an informed, engaged, and determined public. Justice depends on all of us. Justice is not merely a concept in books or courtrooms. It is a living principle that affects real lives. Survivors, families, and communities are all watching, waiting for action that reflects fairness and integrity. Every decision to investigate, or not, sends a message. Will the powerful be held accountable? Will victims see their voices respected? These are questions that define the character of our society. Silence in the face of allegations is complicity. Action, thorough and impartial, is the only path to restoring faith in justice. We cannot afford to look away or delay when lives and truths are at stake. It is not enough to acknowledge wrongdoing after the fact. Institutions must act proactively, follow every credible lead, and ensure that no one can hide behind status or influence. The courage to confront uncomfortable realities, to follow evidence wherever it leads, and to protect victims above all else. That is the measure of justice in practice. Every individual, from leaders to citizens, has a role to play. Accountability is not a spectator sport. It requires engagement, persistence, and moral clarity from all who value truth. As we reflect on these events, we must ask ourselves, are we satisfied with partial answers, or will we demand the full truth? Justice depends on our willingness to insist it is served. Ultimately, the call is clear. Stand for transparency, uphold fairness, amplify survivors' voices, and ensure that no one, regardless of power or status, is beyond accountability. Accountability is not a one-time act. It is a continuous commitment. Every allegation must be revisited, every lead pursued, and every victim supported until justice is truly served. Ignoring evidence or turning a blind eye weakens the rule of law. Institutions must be vigilant, impartial, and relentless in their pursuit of truth, no matter how inconvenient it may be. The consequences of inaction are real. Survivors are left without closure, the public loses faith, and those who exploit the vulnerable remain unchallenged. Justice delayed too often becomes justice denied. We must insist that investigations are complete, transparent, and free from political influence. Only then can society begin to heal and trust the system that promises protection and fairness for all. Every witness, every document, every piece of evidence matters. Justice is built on these fragments of truth, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure they are not ignored or dismissed. It is not enough to condemn crimes after they happen. Institutions must act decisively, pursue every lead, and hold accountable all who participate or enable wrongdoing. Justice is a responsibility shared by everyone, not only leaders. Citizens, investigators, and institutions must act together to ensure fairness. Ignoring allegations or allowing political influence to interfere weakens the rule of law, leaves survivors unheard, and permits wrongdoing to continue unchecked. Accountability demands courage, persistence, and integrity at every level. Every allegation, witness statement, and document is a thread in the larger fabric of truth. To deny their importance is to deny justice itself. Society must insist that no one, regardless of power or influence, is exempt from scrutiny. Justice requires active engagement, thorough investigation, and a relentless pursuit of facts, even when uncomfortable or inconvenient. Failures in the past must not dictate the future. We cannot allow silence or delay to become precedent. Each ignored lead, each unexamined witness erodes public trust and perpetuates injustice. The law exists to protect victims, hold perpetrators accountable, and ensure that society can rely on fairness, transparency, and truth in every circumstance. Accountability is not symbolic, it is practical and urgent. Survivors deserve resolution, institutions must act without bias, and the public must demand results. Justice is a living principle, sustained by vigilance, courage, and unwavering commitment. Only through collective insistence and active engagement can fairness and integrity prevail against power and impunity. Justice is not simply a legal concept. It is a commitment to truth and fairness that affects real lives. Survivors must see that their voices matter, and society must witness that wrongdoing is met with consequence. Only by confronting uncomfortable realities and following evidence wherever it leads can public trust be restored and accountability ensured. Every uninvestigated claim, every ignored lead, is a gap in the pursuit of justice. Institutions must operate without fear or favor, examining all evidence thoroughly and impartially. The public has a role too, to remain vigilant, to ask hard questions, and to demand that those in power uphold the law and protect victims above all else. Justice delayed undermines the very principle it stands for. Victims deserve answers, perpetrators must face consequences, and society must see that the law applies equally to all. Silence and inaction are not neutrality, they are complicity, allowing injustice to persist and trust in institutions to erode over time. True accountability requires more than words. It requires action. Investigations must leave no question unanswered, no lead unexplored, and no survivor unheard. Only by confronting every aspect of wrongdoing can fairness prevail, and the promise of justice be fulfilled for those who suffered and for society as a whole. The pursuit of justice is continuous and requires unwavering vigilance. Every witness, every document, and every allegation matters. Ignoring these pieces risks allowing crimes to go unpunished and survivors to be forgotten. Society must insist that investigations are thorough, impartial, and relentless, ensuring that power and status do not shield anyone from accountability. Leaders alone cannot guarantee justice. The public's engagement is crucial. Demanding transparency, asking difficult questions, and holding institutions accountable ensures that no allegation is dismissed and no victim's voice is silenced. Justice thrives only when both authorities and citizens act together with integrity and determination. History will judge how society responds to power and privilege in the face of wrongdoing. Will we allow silence to protect the influential, or will we insist on thorough, unbiased investigations? The choices made today will shape public trust and the effectiveness of justice for generations to come. Institutions must operate with courage and integrity. Every lead must be examined, every witness heard, and every allegation investigated. Only a relentless commitment to fairness can prevent impunity, ensure accountability, and demonstrate that the law applies equally to all, regardless of status or influence. Justice is not optional. It is a responsibility. Survivors, witnesses, and society depend on institutions to act decisively and without bias. Every unexamined lead, every ignored testimony, weakens trust in the rule of law. To honor victims and uphold fairness, accountability must be unwavering and comprehensive, leaving no one above scrutiny. In the end, the measure of justice is whether truth is pursued, voices are heard, and wrongdoing meets consequence. It requires courage, persistence, and vigilance from leaders and citizens alike. Only by standing together for transparency, fairness, and accountability can society ensure that justice is not a promise, but a reality for all.